first of three. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Sophia Minard, and we're pleased to be joined now by Mark Attanasio down by the Brewers dugout. And we didn't want you to get out of your seat, Mark, so you stay right there and just make sure no foul balls come over there and do any damage. So welcome to our broadcast.
Sophia's got a good spot where she can duck behind the dugout, and me and Bob Quinn
are exposed.
By the way, Bob Quinn, if you check it out, has got a really colorful shirt on tonight. He's really stepping out here.
Now, he's a colorful guy, the musician that he is.
There he is.
And he's all smiles, and there's Sophia. Well, Mark, thanks for joining us. This has been a very interesting day, and one that you've not dealt with as an owner of a ball club, where you're in a transition period for a general manager. Now, we've heard the rumors, we've heard discussions that something like this might happen. Why was today the day that it did happen?
Well, I don't know that there was any magic to today other than we're all in Chicago. The team's in town, and we've got Major League owners meetings here. So it was as good a time as any, I think, both getting through the trade deadline and we're about to start to ask for permission to speak to folks from other clubs, and we didn't want any. There'd invariably be leaks on that. We didn't want to have any leaks.
Mark, was this kind of a surprise to you coming from Doug? Or was this something you two had been talking about for a while?
No, we've talked about this for some time, Rock, and in fact, we had a handshake agreement on this in spring training, and took a couple of months to get documented, and we've been operating with this in mind. What we didn't want to do is disrupt the operations of the club, and particularly as it turned out to be a very fertile trade deadline for us, we didn't want any distractions while we were going through that.
Yeah, we were talking. We've been talking up here about the Doug Melvin legacy here with the Brewers. Your thoughts on his time here in Milwaukee?
Well, Doug's had a really successful tenure. I think the year before he took over the club, they only won 56 games. And, I remember just to get to the playoffs. I noticed, by the way, guys, not being the best of seasons here, at least now we're running clips from 2011 and not 1982.
Right.
So we've had a couple playoff appearances in the last 5 years. And, importantly, the team is in. I got a note from one of our fans that said, "How come you're always so cheery?" But notwithstanding, I feel everybody's pain. We have a lot of really good things going on now. And, chief of them may be Doug's handiwork this season, in both in terms of, identifying Craig Counsell as our manager and executing some of the trades that he did at the trade deadline. I think we'll see his handiwork in Miller Park for years to come.
Chris Coughlin leads the inning off with a walk. Taylor Youngman with a man on base. And Mark, I'm curious to know, as much as you are willing to share, but what are your emotions on a day like this? I mean, Doug Melvin's the only general manager that you've operated with. He'll still be in an advisory role, I guess. I mean, that's what you guys have announced. But what are your emotions on this day?
Well, there's a lot of memories, and that said, Doug will have a role with the club, and that role will depend somewhat on who we recruit to take over as GM. We're literally at the front end of the process. This is today's announcement kicks it off. We will have a process. We've developed a list. We probably have 30 some odd names on the list from a number of sources, and obviously we're not going to interview 30 people, so we're really just starting, and depending on who comes in, what their skill set is, and what help they need will help shape what Doug's role is.
We asked Craig Counsell this question, we'll ask you as well, but is he a candidate to be the general manager? He said no, but is that something you'd like to see him enter into?
I think it's interesting. I got a few emails from fans today, and a number of them raised that, and I think Craig is extremely well suited for this role. Had he stayed in the front office, he would have been a candidate, but he's able to take the training he had working with Doug and apply it in the dugout. You know, you see recently, by the way, in the Marlins, they put their GM in the dugout for a year. I think managers need to know how baseball front offices think, and I think it's helpful for.
Got him. Caught stealing. Lucroy guns down Coghlan for the first out of the inning. Continue,
and
Mark.
I think it's you know, likewise helpful to have a manager's perspective. You know, ideally I'd like to see a partnership between Craig and whoever comes in as our general manager. And looks like the Cubs might challenge this one. Maybe.
They're going to take a look at it. Look like Joe Madden wants them to take a look at it, and we'll see what the results will be. Now, Mark, would
you guys have ginned this up so it can have more airtime, right?
Right. We asked them to go to a review here.
Do you have a timeline that you would prefer or be comfortable with respect to this process?
You know, one of the things that we said was one of the things we said in the interview with our local reporters today is that the transition in the way we have set it up gives us a lot of flexibility on time. So, you know, for whatever reason things progress quickly, you know, we're ready to go. We made this decision. Doug's made the decision that you know, he's ready to step out of a primary role. One of the things Doug didn't say was he's extremely hardworking to this day. You know, when we were doing the Carlos Gomez trade, I literally he talked on the air with you guys about talked with you about calling me at Hawaii at 5 in the morning. Well, I can tell you about being in Hawaii and getting emails from him at 1:20 at night in Milwaukee. So, you know, that means no Memorial Days, no Labor Days, you know, no 4th of July picnics. You know, he's going to smell the roses a little bit, and I think he's really earned that. But, you know, that said, he still has a lot of energy if we have the right match here. And we can move quickly, or if we don't have the right match, we can move slowly. By the way, it may very likely be that teams don't allow us to talk to candidates till after the season. In which case it'll go a little more slowly. Ideally, I'd like to have somebody in place, you know, in time to prepare for the winter meetings, but our staff will be, you know, in full preparation mode. It's business as usual in, you know, Milwaukee Brewers baseball operations, and so you know, there won't be a hitch. It'll be seamless.
Visiting with Mark Attanasio as we see the challenge and the call is overturned. Call of out is overturned to safe. That's a stolen base for Coghlan. 3-0 Cubs. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning with Rizzo at the plate and Youngman on the mound. And if you're just joining us and wondering why we're spending this long with Mark Attanasio, the news today that Doug Melvin transitioning into an advisory role. The Brewers are going to be in the search for a new general manager. And I noticed, Mark, that there is a firm that you have called upon to help you in that search. Can you explain why that is, what the purpose of that is, and what you hope to extract out of a firm coming together with, I guess, a short list for you, correct?
You know, Korn Ferry is a established executive recruiter. They frankly have a huge business outside of sports, and I see them in the corporate world quite a bit. But from time to time, they help sports organizations. They were involved with Major League Baseball in the search for the commissioner, or new commissioner, and I was impressed with the way they organized that process.
That one's into the gap. Rizzo is going to plate a run. And that'll be an RBI double for Anthony Rizzo. Boy, this guy is having a huge year. An all-star for the 2nd consecutive season. That is RBI number 64. And the Cubs lead it 4-0. 29th double of the season for Anthony Rizzo. And that'll bring up Chris Bryant. One last question for you, Mark. We'll let you go here. But
no, that's okay.
There's been a lot of discussion about the kind of general manager you're looking for. It seems to come up maybe a younger general manager, an analytics-driven general manager. Is that true? And what kind of light can you shed on those types of discussions?
Well, one of the this goes back to Korn Ferry, because they can help us in a very disciplined way, put candidates into a process and put them into groupings of candidates. In the first instance, this is a terrific opportunity to listen. We're going to get a lot of third-party views from very intelligent people about our organization, and want to hear what they have to say. And I really want to go in with an open mind on that and look for who I think the best fit for our organization is. Because Doug's background is more scouting-driven, people think of us as a scouting-driven team. And while it's true, we also do have a established analytics group. And frankly, this last trade deadline was a marriage of decisions between scouting and analytics. More to the point, from a generational standpoint, I'd like to see, we're looking for someone to kind of pair up with Craig Counsell. So Craig is 44 years old, so a younger person who could forge some type of a partnership with him, I think would be ideal. When you look at other teams, look at the Green Bay Packers with Coach McCarthy and the general manager operate. Coach McCarthy tells me he operates very closely in partnership. So, we'd like to have that, but we're gonna start without any predispositions and really try to find the best person and the best fit who can guide us over the next, 5 to 10 years or longer. Doug was with us, I think, in this role for 13 years.
Well, Mark, we appreciate the time, and I know you haven't had a chance to speak on camera about it yet. Thanks for doing that with us here today. You've had a busy day, whirlwind day with the owners' meetings and this announcement, and we wish you the best. And we're very anxious and curious to follow this entire process as you search for your next general manager. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, guys. And I do think we're with Craig in the seat and some of the trades we did at the trade deadline, we're starting to, move forward in a very positive way.
All right, Mark, thanks for your time tonight. That's Mark Attanasio, the Brewers owner, and tough inning going on here while we're talking to Mark, as Youngman has now allowed